Hello everyone, in this video we are going to cover ethics, law, governance and social responsibilities observed by the organizations. It will majorly be a recap of what we have already studied. So moving forward, a brief recap about what we have already gone through is that the managers and owners are not necessarily the same people. Usually the management is different and the owners are different, and it is important for the management to be encouraged to act in the best interest of the owners, but it is responsibility of theirs that all the stakeholders in trust must also be observed. As a result, at some times the manager's goals conflict with the owner's goals, because the manager's responsibility is to observe the interest of all stakeholders. Therefore, certain times they do conflict with each other's interest, which should be resolved, otherwise it's not good for the company's health. Anyways, what is the ethics, law, governance, social responsibility? By pulling all of these together, we know every of this thing. We know about the ethics, we know about the law, governance and social responsibilities. We have covered in the videos, in the previous videos. So as a brief recap, ethics is a part of social responsibility, and they are the values and principles that the society expects companies, especially large companies and individuals, to follow. Rules and laws are that the companies and individuals must follow by default, as they are enforced on them by the regulations of the government and the bodies. This is a division of which portions of the responsibilities of an organization are governed by the law and which portions are governed by themselves. However, there are certain factors that influence the fulfillment of these works, but we can go through that immediately. Rules are the ones that the individuals and companies must follow. The minimum level, it is basically the minimum level of behavior that the society allows. You must adhere to these rules. You must follow these rules. You don't have that much freedom of choice to follow these things, otherwise you will be penalized. Example is that a company must pay the taxes. If it doesn't pay the taxes, it must follow certain penalizations, certain charges against that. So this is a rule or a law that must be followed. The company pay tax out of its profits. Corporate governance, which we covered earlier, the code of corporate governance, they are a part of rule only for the listed companies. Others are encouraged to follow the best practice in order to ensure the best results of their organization. In contrast, social responsibility and ethics are not at all governed by the rule of law. However, there is more freedom of choice, but there are certain social pressures that the company, due to that, those pressures, has to act in a socially responsible manner, appearing to be a more responsible citizens. Same is the case with ethics, that the values and principles that the companies and individuals are expected to follow, and having an ethical position is down to free choice, but usually it is dependent on certain factors. These are the overall factors that are affecting the decision making of the directors. There are certain external pressures and certain internal. Internal is that the business needs to be appearing more socially responsible, so that people keep dealing with the business and the business keeps growing. Otherwise, if the business will be having a bad image, people will stop dealing with the business. Number 2, needs of the shareholders. The company has to keep a balance between the needs of shareholders. All the profit cannot be donated in charity, but a certain amount has to be reserved for charities and donations to appear like a socially responsible persons. director's own ethics. The director has, or directors have, to keep an eye on the overall requirements of all the stakeholders. If they're only concerned with their own intakes, the people will not go on working with the company because its behavior towards stakeholders will not be very favorable. So that will go against the performance of company again. Other stakeholders, other pressure groups are pressure for social responsibility, pressure of social groups, women rights groups, children rights groups, donations for them, donations for UNICEF, UNO, etc. and these sort of things. The other one factor is law or the government, that it has enforced certain laws to follow. Therefore, the company has to follow, otherwise it will be penalized or charged, and therefore there would be certain other complications arising. Another pressure group is social ethics that need to be followed. For example, in the emergence of COVID-19 now, the responsible, all the businesses who want to appear as responsible must give, especially big businesses, must donate a certain amount of charity without any social pressure, before any social pressure arises, so that the image of the company grows in the eyes of public and the product remains favorite. So these are basically the social groups associated. We can see that many factors will influence the behavior. The main external influence is law because it must be followed. However, social ethical views and needs will also have a strong influence, as company will respect them as far as necessary to remain profitable and remain good in the eyes overall. This is it for the ethics portion, and now we are done with the Code of Corporate Governance completely. Take care. Goodbye.